My name is Melody Munch, and I've been a teacher for the past 8 years. I have absolutely loved my teaching experience. In this video, you'll see that next year I'll be creating teacher resources full-time. I hope you enjoy seeing how this journey played out. This video is being filmed on February 27th, and today is the day I'm actually going to be letting my school know that I am not teaching next year. Before you get too concerned, I know a lot of teachers are leaving the profession because of burnout or because of just really difficult situations at their schools or in their classrooms, and thankfully that has not been my experience. I've really loved every day of teaching. Of course it's challenging. Of course there's been hard moments, that goes without saying, but there's truly been so much joy, and I've loved my teaching career, my 8 years of teaching. However, along with teaching, I started developing a teacher side business, a teacher business to offer resources and ideas to other teachers, and I've loved sharing those ideas, which is why I started doing some YouTube things, because I've always wanted to be able to share those ideas on this platform as well. That desire to grow that business has just only grown stronger over the years, especially the past 2 years, I would say. And juggling teaching full-time and trying to run a business full-time, which, really wasn't quite full-time, but in all my spare time, has been really busy. It's been a lot, and I've really been desiring to slow down. So truly that is my biggest why, or my biggest reason why I decided that I will be stepping away from the classroom next year, because though it's really hard and I love getting to teach, I just really need to slow down. And I've known that the pace that I've been at is not a long-term sustainable pace, but I always envisioned that I would just kind of keep teaching until my husband and I were ready to add on to our family. We're not quite there yet. I always thought I would just teach until we were ready to do that, but really we have a really unique and wonderful opportunity where my teaching side hustle has grown and has been very blessed. And as it has grown, the financial pie chart has definitely enlarged on the teacher business side far beyond what teaching is. And so if you look at it on paper, this decision is like no brainer. It's like what takes up the most of my time yet produces the least income would by far be teaching, and what takes up less of my time but is far more profitable has been sharing my ideas online and marketing them via my course and the different teaching platforms where you can list your resources like Teachers Pay Teachers. So that's really hard though, because obviously it's not that cut and dry. I am much more of a intuitive person, so I tend to go with my feelings over what logically makes sense. So teaching has never been a financial decision for me. It's just been something that's captivated my heart, and my heart is still very captivated by teaching. But when I had to decide something to let go, and the desire to grow my business has been growing, but also the desire to slow down has been growing, it just feels like it's time. So it's super hard, and I'm really not looking forward to telling my team, and that's why I've been putting off filling out this little survey that I'm about to do, where you kind of tell your school what your intent is for the next year, because they will need to be hiring someone for my position. I'm whispering because I just not ready to let someone overhear this yet, and it's kind of people in the hallways. I know that a lot of teachers are leaving for different reasons, and that's not really what my experience has been, thankfully. And each teacher's experience is so different, and I respect every single one of their stories, but I did want you to hear a more in-depth reason for me, and I'll be explaining this on my social media channels eventually too. But I thought this moment might be worth capturing because it might be something that would be good to share down the road. So I'm going to open up the form now on my computer and submit that information about next year. I think I am ready. Everything's filled out. It says my current position, that I do not plan to return. There were only 2 options on why you're not returning. It said you're retiring or you're seeking to transfer, or another reason. So I clicked other. There are a lot of other things here. Okay, there were a few more questions I didn't realize. Oh, okay, there are more questions. Oh my gosh. There are a lot more questions than I thought there would be. I thought I was just gonna be like, submit. We're gonna have to finish this later. So there's like a bunch of questions about things that the school should keep doing or pause on doing, or yeah. And I would like to give some feedback on those things, even though I'm not returning. So we'll finish this later. We have to print things. But they're all still here. So we're just gonna do this one. So here I'm explaining very quietly that I filled out the rest of the form on my afternoon plan, and now it's after school and I'm pulling it up. I wrote a nice message to my admin about how much I loved working at the school, and then I go ahead and submit it. I just left school. Now I don't have to whisper, and I got this pink lavender tea from Dutch Bros that is so good, and I think I'm gonna go get my toes done, get a pedicure, just as a little celebration, because that was a really big moment for me. There is a lot of things that I'm not looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to the teaching FOMO. I will really be jealous and missing all that beautiful back to school energy. I love getting the classroom ready and then meet the teacher and like finding out who's in the class, and like there's just so many sweet things about back to school that I'll miss, especially. And just like telling my team and like clearing out my classroom just really makes me sad, because there's so much love that's been poured into that over the 8 years I've taught, and just having to make decisions about like what to give away or to sell or to keep is like really overwhelming and daunting to me, but one step at a time, and I do have a lot of peace about it. Yeah, it's an exciting thing, so it's kind of emotional and thinking about everything right now, and also thinking about when to talk to my team about it. And they're probably gonna need to start interviewing for my position soon. So I definitely want them to know, so that they, you know that that's coming, and have time to interview great people and get just a really awesome team together for them for next year. And I know they'll be fine, and I feel like I have really set them up well. Like the things that I've done, I've tried to really make sure everything is linked up for them, and it's really clear exactly what we did this year spelled out, and everything that they should need has been, you know, a foundation has for sure been laid for them, and they'll add on to it or choose to cut things as they see fit. But I do feel like I'm leaving them with a really good plan, so that feels good. And yeah, those are kind of some of my current thoughts. So I am just checking back in. It has been quite a while since I've done a update on the transition to being out of the classroom this coming year. Today I actually told my students about it, but it was kind of uneventful. I think a lot of them already knew, because some of them do have family members that are on staff, and maybe it kind of trickled out from there. I'm not 100% sure. Some of them seemed a little bit surprised, but they weren't super sad about it or anything, because one, they wouldn't be in my classroom again anyways. They're going to transition to the next grade. And two, I told them that they'll still see me around. I'm planning to be a volunteer at our school, especially with the second grade team on special days. And I may sub on occasion, so I could even get to be a substitute in their class once or twice. So we'll see. I don't plan to be a sub like every single week or anything, because that would kind of take away from the point of being out of the classroom. But definitely on occasion, I would love to come in and just get to see all the kids and be of help to this wonderful school that I'm a part of. It wasn't emotional at all, and maybe that's because I didn't deliver it that way. I didn't deliver it in an emotional way. I was just like, you know how I, do things outside of school to help teachers? Well, that is what I'm going to be doing next year. I'm going to be helping teachers from my house, so I'm not going to be teaching. But, you guys probably won't even notice because you wouldn't have been in my classroom again anyways. So, I don't know. We just kind of kept it light and sweet, and it was not a huge deal. So, that's okay. We had kind of our emotional moment when I read them my Wish My Teacher Knew letter, which I will link to that video if you didn't see it. It was just a really sweet moment where I was kind of telling them how much they mean to me in a letter, and they just really ate that up. And then we had some sweet letters they wrote back to me. So we kind of had our emotional moment already. So it's kind of nice that this wasn't like a big deal. They were kind of like, okay, like we'll get to see you still. Cool. All right, good for you. I don't know if I ever updated you when I told my team, but I told them after our carnival circus themed day, which was right before spring break. And at that time, I was still kind of grappling with what exactly I was going to do. And I told them I was really leaning towards staying home, but I hadn't fully decided because I just was really trying to figure out how I would show up in a way when I wasn't teaching and if I was going to really be okay with that. But then just the more we thought about it time-wise, my husband and I, we just felt more and more certain. But I did have some moments of kind of like jumping back and forth. Like maybe I should just do this one more year and like kind of go into it knowing this is my last year for right now. But I think it's better this way. I definitely think I could see myself coming back to the classroom in the future, but I do feel like this is the right time. So I am now driving home from the last day of school. It is very surreal. We still go back tomorrow for clearing out the classroom, so I think it won't really feel official till then, and like my husband will be there with me to be taking things down, so I don't know if it'll feel like super sad or not. I don't know. I guess that's how it was last time. I didn't cry when I left my last school, but this is different because it's not just leaving a school, it's leaving teaching for at least this coming year. I'm happy that I definitely don't feel like I'm making the wrong decision, even though it is really bittersweet. I feel like, yeah, that's going to be really good for me to just focus on one thing next year instead of juggling the business and school. It'll be really healthy, I think, for me to slow down intentionally. It will be really healthy for me to slow down and stop trying to do everything in all of my spare time. Stop trying to do all the business things in all my spare time, because the business is really a full-time business, and it'll be really exciting to give it the time it deserves. I know there's definitely going to be some FOMO, some moments where I'm like really wishing I had a classroom to try something with, or special days like we did Glow Day. That day is so fun that I'm like, of course I want to be a part of this, and I know I can come back to like volunteer. That is really what I love most about teaching, is creating the community with the class and creating memorable moments that transcend just what you're teaching. It's so memorable and so magical for the students. It just creates a core memory for them. Those kinds of things are what lights me up, is making memories with the class and being a part of something special for them. And I think that goes back all the way to my roots as a camp counselor, because I just loved being a camp counselor, kind of knowing that like this is this kid's week at camp. I vividly remember going to camp. Like I remember a lot about those weeks, and I remember my counselor And I just thought that was such a cool job to get to be a part of each child's week at camp. Like, that's a really memorable week for them, and I got to be a really special part of that as their counselor. And so I feel like it's like that's what I light up with in the classroom as well. So this is the morning of my very last day as a teacher. Pretty crazy that this is the last day I'm going to my school building as a teacher with my key card, and all of that is pretty wild to think about. It doesn't quite feel like that has sunk in yet, but maybe at the end of the day it will feel that way. Yesterday was a great day. Didn't feel too weird. It felt like a normal last day of teaching, and maybe that's because I do really plan to go back to my school next year and help out with special days and be an occasional sub. So I really do plan to keep seeing my students here and there, and that will be really special, but just in a different capacity. So maybe that's why it doesn't feel as stark as like it was when I left my last school, and knowing like I was moving to a different school so I wouldn't see those students. So I don't know, it felt okay. It didn't feel too sad. My whole family has been so supportive, both on my side and my husband's side. They of course know. I haven't really announced it formally to like all of my friends and family, which I usually just do via Facebook, but that's coming soon. And then of course my school knows, but like other people, unless they heard through someone else, haven't really been told. But the people that knew were texting me yesterday saying, hope you have a great last day, and that was just so thoughtful of them. My mom and dad were even so thoughtful and sent a crumble cookie gift card, which is so sweet because I love crumble cookie. And they also sent this shirt that says retired teacher, which I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, it's a really cute shirt, but I don't know that I would wear other than around the house because I don't really consider that of myself. I consider myself just not teaching right now, but helping teachers, but definitely someone who could return to the classroom. So retired doesn't quite suit me, but it was still so cute. It made me laugh. Anyways, we're gonna go start taking things down and giving the teachers that purchased things from my room at my school their items. And then at the end of the day, Nick is gonna come up and help me carry out the last heavy things. We have a bookshelf we're keeping, and the bistro table, nobody purchased that, so we're gonna see if somebody else could end up buying that this summer. And then the stage is another thing that we'll probably try to sell via my Instagram audience because it's just kind of something special, and I would love to see it be used in another classroom. But it was a lot of work for my husband, and I know that a stage is hard to come by, so we're gonna take that home and see if we can find the right person to snag that. So yeah, it's time to go. I'm gonna go grab a Starbucks for the last day for all of this moving. And I'm really thankful that we have this professional development day so that I didn't have to try to juggle checking out of my room and all the last day things yesterday. It's really nice to end with this Friday just being about checking out, and then we have one meeting where we will place our students into their groups, their classroom groups for next year. So it's gonna be a good day. I get to have lunch with my team since it's professional development, and yeah, let's go do it.
As we finished clearing out the classroom, it was crazy to see how different everything looked. Luckily, I do know the teacher moving into this room, and she let me leave up the wood paper wall, and she also bought some other items that you see that are still here in the classroom.
Just left school, feeling pretty good. A little emotional, a little teary. I got to hug both my teammates on the way out, but mostly just feeling calm and peaceful about it, so that's a good sign. But it is always hard to leave something good, and I had such a great school, great principal, great team, so it's definitely hard, but the biggest feeling I feel right now is just a big sense of peace moving forward, so that's good. So it's been about 3 weeks now since the last day of school, and right after that last day we went on a trip for a couple weeks, and so this was my first week back at home. It just feels kind of like a normal summer teacher on break at this point, but I'm sure everything will start setting in during that back to school time at the end of July, early August. I just announced this transition to my Instagram audience, which was so bittersweet because they have been there for my whole teacher journey, so I will really miss sharing the daily class happenings with them. But I'm so excited for the future to come and for creating full-time in this coming school year, and then excited to see what happens after that. I just heard of some teachers that I follow on Instagram that are going to be doing a job share, and I was so happy for them because I feel like that's like the best of both worlds, getting to be a part of the classroom and having a little extra time outside the classroom. So I'm really interested in looking into that option for the future. We'll see, how this year goes, but that's something that I was like, oh, I wish I had that option. That would have been really cool to go into, but as far as I know, that's not an option where I live. So this is the step I'm taking, and I'm just hoping that the volunteering that I do at my past school will give me that classroom feel that I'll really miss. As far as the future of this channel and Mrs. Munch's Munchkins, I have so many ideas to be sharing with you, specifically here on YouTube. I batch recorded so much content because once I knew I'd be making this transition, that was the thing I knew I couldn't get back, was the actual recording and footage inside my classroom. But I could take time to edit those things later on, and I knew I wouldn't have time to keep up with the editing, with how many videos I wanted to be able to make. So I probably have 30 drafts of videos on my computer that I will be working on editing. Everything from how I did math groups and reading groups to a classroom tour. So many different ideas. I got to a lot of them. I didn't quite get to all the ones that I wanted to do, but we were really burning the midnight oil staying at school quite late those last few weeks trying to crank them out. So I did as many as I could. Anything else I'll be able to record from here at home and just be different, not being able to show you the actual classroom in some of those videos. But there's so much to come, so many more ideas I want to share on Instagram. I have plans for really every single day. So if you want lots of daily teacher ideas, and make sure you're following me on Instagram, and thank you so much for subscribing here on YouTube so that you can get the full in-depth ideas whenever I release new videos. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you in both of those places specifically. Thank you so much for watching this video and learning about my teacher plans for this upcoming school year. I'm really excited to be able to create teacher resources for you full time, and I'm excited to see what the future brings. I'll see you in the next video.